What's up everyone and welcome to a Minecraft Bedrock Redstone tutorial. I'm your host, OmLedu, and today we have something super exciting. A 4-target, fully random archery minigame. Every time you shoot the active target, it will deactivate and then activate another one. We're going to start off super small, so don't run away just yet if you think it's complicated. This is really easy to build. Nothing is too compacted or complicated or weird, and we're going to start off with a simple single player design and then slowly add features one by one, like a scoreboard and then a win section and a reset and a button to start, and then eventually work our way up to the 2-player design. So you can stop at any point depending on how complicated you want your archery game to be. The full version is a 2-player head-to-head race to see who can hit 15 targets the quickest. Each player has a 9-light scoreboard that fills up as they hit targets. After they've hit 15, it will jingle and fill up completely and then reset. There's also a way to reset the scoreboard so that you don't have to manually reset it, and a button to start the game for both players at the same time so that the race is fair. But each player has their own button too, so if they want to play by themselves, they can. But let's jump into it. So the build area is going to be 9 by 12, and leave some room in the front so you can shoot at the targets. But then come to the very back, and adjacent to the center tile, place 2 pieces of redstone dust with glass on top and beside of it. Redstone dust on top of this glass. Then get 2 regular pistons and place them facing inward next to this glass. Then place 2 solid blocks of any kind, like so, with repeaters going into them. Now dig out these 2 blocks next to the pistons and place redstone dust all along this. This is a 50-50 randomizer, you may notice. But then come over here, crouch, and place a regular piston facing outwards on top of these repeaters. Now crawl up here and get solid blocks. Place a solid block right here next to the pistons, and then 4 solid blocks over here coming out of this glass, touching the pistons. Then place redstone dust like so, and then the same on the other side. 3 right here and 1 right there. Now get 2 repeaters and place them in the center, and a solid block right here with a piston on top. Like so. Now place 1 solid block of your choice in between those pistons and do the same thing on this side. So repeaters in the middle, block on the edge, piston on top, block in there. Now get your glass and place a piece of glass on top of this hole and then another piece of glass on top of that hole. Now place 3 solid blocks coming out diagonally from that glass, hugging that glass. Place a repeater on top of the glass, and then a redstone dust next to that repeater, and another repeater diagonally from the first repeater. So same thing over here. So 3 blocks, then a repeater, and another repeater diagonally, and then a piece of redstone dust. And your 4-way randomizer is done. Now on to the targets. So my targets are going to be here, but I want them all at different heights so that it's challenging. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to go up 1 block and place my target. I'm going to crouch and place a trapdoor on the side of this, then a solid block on top with a repeater going into it. Then place 2 solid blocks right there, 1 solid block right there. Turn around, place a repeater going out with a redstone dust on top of that block. Make sure that repeater is going out. Then crouch and place a piston on top of that repeater. Go up with 4 temporary blocks. Break out the middle 3. Look up and place a piston facing down. Break out that other temporary block. Place a redstone block in between those pistons with a solid block next to it and redstone dust on top. And you're done. So each target is going to look just like this, just at different elevations. So moving on to the next one, I want this one to be really high. So I'm going to go up by 4 blocks and then do everything the same. So target, trapdoor, solid block, then repeater going into solid block, 2 solid blocks, then 1 solid block, repeater going out, redstone dust on top, piston on top, 4 temporary blocks on top of the piston, then knock out the middle 3, place another piston going down, knock out that one, redstone block, then regular block with redstone dust on top. And so your targets don't necessarily have to be at different elevations. They could all be at the same elevation if you want to. It would make the game less challenging, but it would make the redstone cleaner. But yeah, you could even make them at more extreme elevations or move them around or whatever. I tried to design this where it's like plug and play that like no matter where you build your targets, you can just run the redstone to where it needs to go and it'll all be okay. You know, I could have made like a more compacted design, but that just gets confusing and stuff. And then it's less versatile. You know, this way, once you get these archery cells built and your randomizer built, really you just hook them up to the pistons. Like your randomizer hooks up to the pistons and your pistons act as like an on-off switch for the trap door on the archery block. But looky there, you are now done with the target. So then come back here, and now we need to connect all these bottom repeaters together. So get your solid blocks and place them coming out, and then let's go diagonally up, and then keep going diagonally up, and we'll worry about that repeater in a second, but place blocks coming out of these with redstone dust connecting all these repeaters. And then for this top repeater, simply crouch and place a solid block coming out of it, and it will send power down to that redstone line. And now we connect it to our randomizer. So this bottom redstone sticking out right here needs to connect to this redstone that we just placed. So just place some diagonal blocks going up, and then some redstone going down. Now pop out all of your blocks that are unnecessary, and there you go. Now we need to connect these top pistons to each of these 4 repeaters. Each repeater going to the piston that's in front of it. So this first one should be pretty easy. It should be low enough that we should just be able to get there with solid blocks. So crouch and place a solid block, and then go diagonally up with solid blocks, and it should fit in just like so. Then we place redstone dust on top, get rid of the unnecessary blocks, and then move on to the next one. So all the other ones will be a little bit more interesting. It won't just be straight there, but we'll place a solid block, and then have a solid block diagonally up from that coming to the middle, and then redstone dust on top, and then one more solid block going diagonally up toward that piston up there, and then redstone dust on top of that, and now glass on top of these 2 redstone dust with redstone dust on top. And so that's how you work your way up to the top piston. If it's really high up there, just keep working your way up with glass until you're tall enough. But for this one, we only need 2 pieces of glass. So now pop out the unnecessary block and then move along. So same way with this one. Place a solid block here, a solid block coming out from that diagonally, redstone dust on top. One more solid block coming out diagonally from that with redstone dust on top. Then your glass right here and right there. And then redstone dust on top, solid blocks diagonally up from that, running all the way to your piston. Yay! Be sure to get rid of any unnecessary blocks as you go. And this last one. Yay! So again, I'm just using lime stained glass to make it easier to see. You can use regular glass. There is no difference between the stained glass and regular glass when it comes to redstone. Just since I'm using a borderless texture, I can't stand the borders on glass. I'm just using limestone glass to make it easier to see. And now you're done. You can stop here. It should work. Once eventually all of these will close if you hit the targets enough, and you have a 4-target random game. So now if you want to make it jingle when you hit a target, simply put a repeater coming out of this middle section where it touches the ground, redstone dust out, and now dig a hole. Dig down underground so that we can run this signal to some note blocks to make some pretty jingles every time you successfully hit a target. And yeah, pretty basic. Just run a redstone line all the way out. Use repeaters to refresh the signal when needed. And then when you get close to your podium where the player is going to stand and shoot, then place your note blocks underneath that. In this case, I'm going to place 3 note blocks, and then I'm going to put them on packed ice. I'm going to hit the first one 3 times, the middle one 5 times, and this last one 7 times. 7. So then I'm going to put repeaters in between them, no delay, so it'll just be like do-do-do, do-do-do, And that's it. You could stop right here for the super basic design. Whether you want to keep going or not, be sure to test it right now and make sure all the trapdoors open and close like they're supposed to. But then, if you want to keep going, we're going to add a scoreboard next. So come out 3 from the side of your machine with decorative solid blocks, and then 9 redstone lamps on top of that. And so now if you want it to be where 1 target hit equals 1 light, I will put it in the description, but go build the dropper scoreboard from my other video right here. I designed this so that that scoreboard would fit perfectly right here, but for the sake of simplicity, in this video, we're just going to make a simple plebeian scoreboard, where 1 hit does not necessarily equal 1 light, but no matter what scoreboard you want to use, place these 2 comparators right here, receiving signal from these 2 droppers that are facing each other. Then place a solid block coming out of the back comparator with a redstone torch on top, a solid block coming out of that comparator with a redstone torch on the side. Now 3 solid blocks on top of that torch with a piston facing the back on top. Break out that last block. Now turn around, place a solid block on top of that torch with a piston on the side. It will activate. Now place a redstone block in between those 2 pistons and 2 redstone dust right there. So you should have this. Now take solid blocks and crouch. Place 1 right there on the side of that comparator, and then 2 more like so. Place redstone dust under there and up there. Then place a redstone repeater facing the front of the machine like so, and a redstone torch on the bottom. It should start freaking out like this and ticking and being annoying, so come over here to these 2 droppers. Place 5 non-stackable items into this dropper. Now if you're building the scoreboard from my other video, place 9 non-stackable items into this dropper. But if you're just going to build the scoreboard from this video, place 5 non-stackables and then 5 of 2 different stackable items. This will make it where you need 15 hits to win the game. So let's run redstone out from this block right here so that it actually can count the points that you get. So it needs to come out of here. So place a repeater here and then a repeater right here, I believe. Yes, okay. So that will keep track of how many points you get. So now if you want to build the other scoreboard, this is where you put it. Again, it's in the description. But for the plebeian scoreboard, place a solid block, a repeater, then 2 redstone dust, then a piece of glass, and then another piece of glass. And we're going to just go with glass all the way up. So just keep placing glass with redstone dust on top all the way up. And the very final one should run into this redstone lamp like so. Now one last thing and our scoreboard will be complete. It needs to freak out whenever you win. So come over here and dig out underneath this torch and then dig out these blocks so that you can place redstone dust from that torch underneath this block. Just dig out everything that isn't that block with redstone already placed and then run a redstone line underneath all of this stuff. You could dig it down farther if you want to, but it's just going to go to right here. So place a repeater right here and then run redstone all the way. So from that torch all the way to that center line, now run redstone up here into a repeater, into a block, and then redstone dust on top. And now your scoreboard is complete. So as you get hits, the lights will increase, and when you get all 15, the lights will completely fill up. Then the machine will freak out, your sound will play, and the lights will flash. And yeah, so you can stop here, or if you want to prepare for multiplayer, the next thing we're going to add is that during this cycle, you want the trapdoors to close, so that the players don't get an unfair advantage by being able to aim before the game starts. So to do this, we need to come back here, and these bottom repeaters need to be going into a block that powers the piston on top of them, like so. So this is the first thing we need to change, is just come over here to the middle and get rid of all the redstone dust in front of these 3 repeaters, or these 2 repeaters. Then place solid blocks in front of them, and then redstone dust on top. But this middle one, just place a piece of glass here so that you can place redstone up here like so. So now these repeaters are still tied to each other, but they now power their own pistons. So then turn around and right here, pop out this redstone and place a redstone comparator like so. Then place a solid block coming out of that comparator like so. And then come over to the side, place a solid block, and then a solid block down here, another solid block down there, and then keep placing solid blocks, and then up here. So we're working our way to this torch over here. And so we want to build a little platform coming from this redstone to that torch. Now run redstone from this torch over here, then place a repeater right here, and then place a block right here to block off that redstone so it doesn't connect, and place a repeater under there. Then place redstone dust right here, place a solid block to break off that redstone, and more dust up here going into that comparator. That will automatically close the trap doors when the game is done. So now come over here to this middle section and pop out that redstone dust and replace for a repeater. And so now you need to dig down, and we're going to place a redstone torch underneath that center redstone right there. And so everything should turn on just like so. Now dig down a little more, jump in your hole, and place another torch underneath this torch. So everything should turn off again. And now dig down here. Now you need to run redstone that turns off this torch. So like so. And we're going to run this redstone all the way out to a button somewhere in the front of our machine. So if you dig through here, you should come to this redstone line that leads to your note blocks. So now go and figure out where you want your button for this to be. I'm going to place my button just like here. So this is going to open a trapdoor when you're ready to play. Because if the trapdoors all close when the game is over, you need something to open a trapdoor to like start the game. So place a button with redstone dust underneath, then jump down here and dig this way until you find your note blocks. Now count the number of blocks from your button to your note blocks. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is 7 away from our button. Now come down here to where you connected these paths, and then from here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So your button should be straight this way. Now just dig, and you should come across your button. When you find your button, run your redstone down from your button, and then we want to delay it. So we want to delay it through repeaters so that the player has enough time to get back and get ready, load an arrow and stuff. And since we're going to delay it, I'm going to add some note blocks. I'm going to put some note blocks on top of stones so that it's like thump, 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 and then the game starts. So I'm going to put repeaters on max ticks in between these note blocks, like so. And then run redstone dust all the way from here to that torch. So every 14 or 15 redstone dust, be sure to place a repeater so that it refreshes the signal. And then we're going to build a drain for our scoreboard in preparation for multiplayer. So start off by placing a temporary block next to that piston, then diagonal blocks down. Place 3 blocks right there, then a diagonal down. Now place your button. So this button is going to drain the scoreboards. So I'm going to place a decorative block with a button on it, and then from the back of the button, run redstone dust up these blocks, and none of this should turn on. And then a repeater there, and then a redstone dust up here, and then we need to run this over to our trapdoor resetter too. So place solid blocks like so, and then run redstone dust over here, and a repeater next to this torch so that the torch doesn't mess with it. And there you go. So now your drain will reset the scoreboard and close all the trapdoors. And if you continue on and mirror this whole design to make a second one, they will share that scoreboard drain. You don't have to mirror the scoreboard drain. They will share it. And so now, if you ever decide to quit halfway or restart, you can just press this button and it will drain the scoreboard and reset the trapdoors. And if you mirror everything you've built so far, you will have 2 full archery minigames, each with their own activation button. But if you're going head-to-head against each other, you don't want your own activation button. You want a shared activation button. So that's the last thing we're going to do, is build a shared activation button. So you press the button, both players get ready, and then both players start at the exact same time. So to do that, figure out where your button's going to be. Place a solid block for your button to be on and a solid block for your redstone dust underneath your button. Now jump in your hole and figure out where your other buttons are. So dig out a little bit of area to find your other buttons, and then dig out a little bit of area to work with. And so now we want to delay this button even more. So put some repeaters on max delay going into your other buttons. Be sure that both sides have the same number of repeaters. And yeah, that's basically it. So from the redstone dust underneath your button, run a repeater out on max ticks into a solid block, going down into redstone dust like so. That way you can place a solid block surrounding your redstone dust around your button, depending on how you want to decorate. That will let you do that. And that's it. You did it. You built all the features. Right now, don't forget to like and subscribe for more tutorials and adventures. And leave me a comment. Let me know if you think the speed of this video was too fast or too slow, if this tutorial was too complex or too simple, if you want more features or less features, or whatever's on your mind, really. You know, I'm up for any sort of criticism or critique or praise, or just let me know whatever you think about these things, and maybe it'll help my videos in the future. Plus, it'll help those YouTube algorithms help get my videos out there. I really enjoy making these, and I really hope you do too. I really appreciate all of your support. It helps me continue making this content. So don't forget to share this with your friends. Share this with people who've never even played Minecraft. You know, it all helps. My next video is going to be how to build a playable chess, checkers, shogi, and go board. There's so many things you can do with such a simple concept. I'm also going to show you how to build a mini game station with a teeny tiny coin flip machine. So be sure to come back and check that out. Until then, I've been your host, OmLedu, hopefully teaching you a redstone trick or two.